How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Bill, and in today's video we are working with bodyguard bumpers yet again. Now, we already got pretty much everything they have. We've got their front bumper, their side steps, their rear bumper, spare tire delete, the cowl lighting mounts, and I do have the light bar with the mounts for it as well, but that's sitting right there. Whole another story on that. But one thing, they've had these for a little while, but they just got them up on their site. They're now available, and that is the Fender Flare Delete. So this is what we've been sent. This is what we currently have now. I already have quite a bit of poke already from my wheels sticking out. This is going to make it poke a bit more. And I know some people really don't like that look, that idea. Some people do. So if you don't like it, this mod's probably not for you. But if you do like it, then this is going to be the greatest. Then this video will definitely be for you. So right now you can see we got a good a whole lug sticking out of our fenders. So we're getting stuff, mud and dirt and everything thrown on here already. So I'm getting another, what's that, 3 inches, 2 inches of exposure. Probably not going to make a huge amount of difference. It will change how aggressive that stance looks, I think. So yeah, I would go ahead, get started. As you probably already know, these Fender flares, OEM ones, come off quite easily. I say that now, I can't get this one off. Yeah, but it's just these little turns underneath. And then pulls. Make sure you got that one. Oh, I missed one. That pulls right off. Now, before I put the deletes on there, I am going to clean that up some, because lots of dirt trapped back in there. Stick that there. That's how much of the wheel stick out now. Now, one thing, I do have the bodyguard bumpers. These stick out a lot further now that the Fender flares aren't on there. But luckily this is an end cap and it comes off a couple of bolts, so I can take this off and bring that in so the fenders or the bumper is not sticking out beyond where the fenders are. So I'll probably go ahead and remove those as well once we get these on. It's just a couple of bolts. They were kind of difficult to get on just because the way you had to get the bolts lined up, so it was easier to put these on when the bumper was off. Taking them off, however, should be fairly easy because you don't have to kind of be a contortionist to get things lined up. You just got to be able to get a tool on your a tool on there. So we'll take a look at that in a bit. But I mean, the installation, super simple. First things, we do have to remove these 3 bolts on the rear. It's just a 10mm holding this panel on. We are going to be replacing, and we're not using those metal clips, we're replacing with screws, so it's still going to get sandwiched. And the other thing is just kind of loosening the liner so we can get back behind there. Apparently I'm missing a fastener. And yeah, these fasteners either work great or they're a pain. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you know these are kind of my nemesis. Sometimes they come out real easily. Sometimes they'll just sit there and turn and won't come out. Other times, you know, you've got to be real careful with them, because if you put any pressure on them as you're turning them, they'll just push right back in. And then sometimes they just won't do anything at all. So but yeah, we'll get, you don't have to take the whole liner out, but I would take this. There's a, I think it's a 7 or 8 millimeter, and then the rest are these like screw fasteners in, just along this front edge. Don't have to take the whole liner out, but just so you can kind of reach in there, because we're going to be putting a fastener through with a washer and a nut on the back side, so you want to be able to hold that washer and nut on the back side. So with all that said, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts out, and then get this cleaned up, and then we'll start with getting one of the deletes on there. I do want to save these bolts, because if I put the other regular fenders back on, I'm going to need them. Oh, just, like I said, the 3 10 millimeter bolts. So these don't always want to just come out, and sometimes you just need to use a panel removal tool. Like this one's completely I need to order some of these extra fasteners, because as many times as I've taken these Fender flares on and off, I've ruined a couple of these attachments. Maybe this one will behave nicely and you can see how it's supposed to work. Of course not. Sometimes if you just put the panel removal tool on the back of it, put a little bit of pressure, it'll be enough. There's just a little bit of pressure on there to get it working correctly. And of course, this one's not going to behave nicely either. It's just these panels here, or pins here. As you screw them in, it's supposed to push out the backside, so it's that. But if they get pushed out too much, then there's no threads for it and it just spins freely. So they're a bit finicky. And then he said we got the one hex bolt here. It does have a Phillips head on there, so you could use either a ratchet or a screwdriver. So now just the front edge is there. We can get back behind here. Oh, nope, missed one. Alright, so that's out. Alright, so there was 7 of them plus the one screw holding that in, and I say you don't have to take the whole thing out, but it's making room so we can get back behind there to easily stick our hand back there with some screws. Now the hardware included, just like with the bumper, if you saw the previous, when I got the original bumper, it had the stainless steel screws with it. We did end up swapping those for the black hardware, which they made available on their site now. So if you order the bumper, you can get it with the stainless steel or the black hardware, and it's the same with these now as well. You could select to get the regular stainless steel, or you can go with the black anodized hardware, which is what I'm going to go with. I just need a screw. We'll grab 2 of each for right now. I just grabbed 2 for right now so I can get the first piece on and then go from there. But that, and it's a got 5/32 Torx bit, or not Torx but hex bit, and we'll go ahead and throw this first one on there. So they are shaped and cut. Like here on the rear, you can see it's a bit smaller on the back side than it is the front side. So we just gotta make sure we put that in the right way. And so I'm just gonna go in, bolt or the screw through the front, and then big washer on the back, and then the nut behind that. Like I said, I just grabbed 2 so we can get it started. I didn't tighten them up, I just kind of got them snugged in there so to hold that in place while we get the other screws in there. Then we'll make sure everything's lined up and tighten everything down. Alright, so that's on there. Obviously it'll look better once we tuck that back up there, but I'm going to go ahead and put that liner back up so we can see how that looks. Alright, so there, yeah, obviously it looks better when the liner's tucked back up there, not hanging out. And we can see we got pretty aggressive poke going on there from the front. Now, front's going to be similar. Undo our fasteners. Remove our fender. Now the front one, it doesn't have any bolts you got to remove. It's just same thing with the front. You got one. You got, well, instead of the one hex screw slash bolt, you got 3 that are up under the lip that go back. And so we gotta just undo this front lip. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these screws, and then 3 the hex screws, just to kind of be able to push that back out of the way. So I'll do that, get this cleaned up, and then we can put the front one on. Alright, so same thing with the front. got this fender liner loose. It's not as loose as the back, unless you take more of it off. I really don't want to take more of it off just because I don't want to. No, I don't want to have to take more of it off because I got the rock lights installed in here and the extra wires and everything, and so the less amount I have to take apart of this, the better. So I'm going to see if just taking that front row off is going to give me enough play to get this all done. And just like the back, I'm going to grab just now. My fender is a little bit bent up. There, you see, like where the normally where the fender liners or fender flares go in, they got bent up a little bit, and that was when I had my little incident where I smacked this front corner, and it did knock a few things out of whack a little bit, and it did kind of bend these, but I think when we get these on here, it'll kind of flatten everything out and should be okay, but we will see. Hopefully we don't have any problems with this being bent at a little bit. Alright, so was able to get all of the screws in with just taking this front lip out. Would be easier if you took the whole thing out, but like I said, I didn't want to have to do that and deal with the wiring for the rock lights and everything else, so just did the front lip. It worked. It got the job done. So I mean, this is one side done. Fender flares removed. Kind of how it looks compared to fender flares on. I'll do a straight shot from the side here. Fender flares on. Fender Flare Delete's on. Now, so like I said, I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people would want to put bigger fender flares on there, not smaller ones, or not get rid of them. I'm not sure which one I like better yet. Quite honestly, I mean, it looks good, but you know, it does the job. Bodyguard, once again, has a product that does what it's supposed to do. I do like the fact that I won't bash that fender in and that fender flare in again. And then obviously you can take these extensions of the bumper off so it brings it in so it's not sticking out further than the rest of everything else, which I may do. But before I do anything, I'm going to take this side off, get this side done, and see how everything looks. I mean, yeah, The other side is going to be exactly the same as this side, so no real need for me to record that. So I'll go ahead and get the other side done, and then we'll pick up and see how everything looks once it's all done. All right, so we got it all done, everything cleaned up. So I haven't taken these extensions off yet. I'm going to give this a little bit of time to see how I like it. Give it a few days. If I continue to like it and I'm going to keep the fender flares off, then I'll go ahead and take those off and then get it all evened out. But I had to get to a stopping point and get everything cleaned up. We're about to go to a cruise in, local area cruise in and car show thing. So I'm going to go to that, check it out, show off the Bronco there some, and see how it goes. So I think that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. That is the installation of the Bronco, or the Bodyguard Bronco Fender Deletes. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. And you did hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below. It helps the videos when any likes, any comments, even if it's just a comment that says hi, it seems to do the trick. So I appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and I will see you next time.